She's been making music for many decades, which is strange because she's only 27, and someone who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Please welcome Cherie Currie. Hello.
Hey, Dawn, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I could hear you great. Thank you. How about, can you hear me all right?
You sound great, Dawn. Thanks for having me.
Cool, yeah. Listened to the album yesterday, and yeah, it was funny. I'm listening, and I'm thinking, you know what? This is really actually what I wanted from Cherie Currie. It really hit me. Like, I didn't know what to expect from it, but when I heard it, I said, yeah, that's really what I wanted from her. And I know you've been working with Matt Sorum, I guess, for the last 5 years on this collection of songs. How do you know when you have a Cherie Currie album? How do you know when it's done after 5 years?
Actually, it's been 10 years, Dawn. We started this record in 2010, and it's basically been shelved for the last 9 years.
Yeah, I know you've had other projects, but how'd you know again? Because the album's great and it sounds killer, and it is star-studded, as the press release says. But how'd you know this collection of songs was ready?
That's all Matt Sorum, I have to say. If it wouldn't have been for Matt, he saw something that I didn't see. It was just luck and circumstance that Matt had reached out to me to be a background singer on his now wife album Ace. And I got back to him late, and I had just been asked to open for Joan at the Pacific Amphitheater, and we had 3 weeks and I didn't have a band. And I called Matt. He goes, no, we're done with the session work. But, you know, he said he would help me. And he put together a kick-ass band, Nick Mayberry and Grant Fitzpatrick, who will continue to work with me these last 10 years, and my son, Jake Hayes. And Matt opened his little black phone book and called all his friends, because I'm just a chainsaw carver from the Valley, Don, okay? I mean, I don't have these friends.
All right. And I want to talk about that because it's so crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
But no, it was so awesome to meet these wonderful, iconic musicians who are just so gracious and giving of their time, like Matt Sorum, and how wonderful he was making this record. He really was the best producer I've ever worked with, because he didn't try to change me. He allowed me, even though I hadn't done a whole lot musically over the years, he just let me be myself. And through that, you know, I think I gave some of the best performances of my life.
Yeah, well, Matt's always, you know, post Guns N' Roses, he's been such a great facilitator in the music world for people to, like you said, if you call Matt on a moment's notice, you say, I need a band tonight, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he'll put together the best band you ever played with. So good to have friends like Matt. And obviously good to have friends like Slash and Duff from Guns, Juliette Lewis, Billy Corgan, who are all guests on the album. When you have special guests, and I think there's a different method to everyone's madness. When you're writing the songs, are you thinking, oh, this person would sound good on this? Or is it just you write all the songs and then you kind of place them in afterwards?
You know, again, I'm not a musician. I mean, I write a little bit on the guitar, but Matt, he just, and he's tough. I mean, let me tell you, my son learned a lot from him because Matt, he's a perfectionist. So, you know what, when it came to the writing and it came to the arrangements, you know, thank goodness we had somebody like Matt to do this. And all of his years of hard work, you know, paid off with Blvds of Splendor. And you know, and I can't give him enough credit. I just can't give him enough credit because it's all him. You know, it really is all Matt Sorum and his contacts and his hard work and his friends and his writing and arranging abilities. And I was able to write a few songs, but you know, I love Matt for what he did, because if I never make another record as long as I live, this is the one I'm glad to go out on.
Yeah. But again, you know, I mean, I know that, and Matt is great, and you're being humble, because, you know, if not for your vocal and the different styles of the songs, and, you know, it's just, you know, you can hear some of your past in the current music as well, which is, you know, something that fans want. You know, they want to hear a little bit of the nostalgia, but it's also you in the modern age. I thought, you know, the guest stars were really in the perfect places. I think the duet with Billy Corgan was like, that was such a perfect match. And maybe that's a guy I wouldn't have thought, yeah, he and Cherie would really work well vocally, but you really did. And then you had, you know, Juliette Lewis and a bunch of other great females join you on a cover of an old Runaway song, which I thought was fantastic as well.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I love the Runaways music. What we have always loved about it, or me personally, is that anyone can play to it. You don't have to be a great musician. It certainly can spark, you know, a person's interest in being in music. It's not The Voice or American Idol, thank God. I wish people didn't look at those programs and make their decisions on whether or not to be in the music business from those, because, like, you know, Bob Dylan never would have been accepted. They would have kicked him off, you know, off of American Idol in a flash. So to bring back really good rock and roll like this record, that does have a hint of the 70s, and you know, it was the best time in the world to grow up with music. So yeah, I'm so happy with this record.
Well, I was gonna ask you who your ultimate collaboration partner would be, but I think you answered that with all your praise for Matt Sorum. Again, I thought all the collaborations on the record really worked great. You know, obviously we have to mention the Runaways. The album is on Joan Jett's record label, I believe, Blackheart Records.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, and I love the Runaways. I mean, I still think that those Cherry Bomb is iconic. You know, and thank you, Guardians of the Galaxy, for putting it in their soundtrack. And I have several platinum records on my wall because of that, finally. So, I mean, and the Runaways movie, I mean, a lot of people, I had no idea how the Runaways had impacted people. I really thought we'd all but been forgotten. It's such a pleasure to see that we weren't, and that all that hard work and blood, sweat, and tears really mattered.
Yeah, well, being that you're on Joan's label obviously means your relationship with her continues now into 2020, which is, you know, is amazing in any context, with a little distance in the rearview mirror. And I think I remember you saying good things about the movie. What are your feelings today about the Runaways movie?
Well, first of all, having to have Dakota Fanning play me, she's one of my favorite actors ever. I think that she and Kristen Stewart and Michael Shannon just knocked it out of the park. I think Floria Sigismonte just captured the 70s in a way that I think is just exceptional. I mean, you know, of course there's stories that I kind of wish could have been told, but I mean, how do you wrap 2 years into an hour and, you know, and a half? I'm just very humble that they made a major motion picture about our lives. And for that, I am forever grateful, and forever grateful to these great actors.
Yeah, and it's great for the rock scene just in general. You know, you look at what's happened with Bohemian Rhapsody, and so these rock movies have really, I think, been a real good thing for our scene, to really get it out there into the mainstream, to let people know who might not have known about the Runaways, you know. You know, I think it's just a good thing overall. Now, when you're not being a rocker, you do something that's absolutely incredible that I love. And you mentioned it before. You're a chainsaw artist.
Yes. I've been a chainsaw artist, Don, for almost 20 years now. That's really the reason why I have my house. The music business has not been my main source of, you know, bread and butter. Yeah, I've been a chainsaw carver, and I love it. It just was something I was meant to do. You know, it's that little voice in your head that tells you that you have to do this and that you can do it. That's why I'm such an advocate for people not to listen to anybody's advice, because had I taken my family's advice, I wouldn't have continued on. Of course, they were worried from life and limb, but the thing is that I knew it was something I had to do. And I just tell anybody, if you have a dream and that voice in your head says you have to do it, please don't ask people's opinions, because it's not their path. You have your path only, and they cannot give you a good advice.
No, it's because it's your choice, and if it's burning inside you, you got to do it. But I will say, isn't working with charcoals a little safer?
I'm just not very good at it, you know. I'm just not. My son, on the other hand, I mean, he just does amazing portraits, and he was a professional tattoo artist for many years. But I can carve three-dimensional, but I can't draw it very well. I could do really cool cartoony type stuff. I like whimsical, but you know, it's just not my forte.
I mean, Jesse from Jackal has nothing on you. I mean, he chainsaws, you know, through a stool every night during the concert. You're actually creating art, and I would imagine there's not a lot of room for error.
In fact, there's zero room. I mean, you know, I've learned, you know, because you can't put it back on. So you really have to be very precise with your cuts. And, you know, I kind of look forward to maybe one day when I can't lift that chainsaw anymore to work with clay, because, hey, I can pull it off and put it back on again, you know. It's not, because if I do make a mistake, I have to recarve the entire thing. So I don't like making mistakes, Don.
Well, I mean, it's like people are paying for these cameo videos for one of their favorite artists to say happy birthday to them or whatever for 30 seconds, you know, and then like you delete that off your phone a week later. This is like, you could have Cherie Currie sculpt you something with a chainsaw that you could have forever standing in your living room. I mean, can people buy your stuff?
Yes. In fact, I've been doing only special orders for, golly, ever since before the Runaways. When the Runaways movie went into production, I started getting an awful lot of fans coming to my gallery, which was on Topanga Canyon. And so I remember one day I was carving and someone came and tapped me on the shoulder and frightened me. And I realized that I had to close down. So I do special orders. Anything people want, they just reach me through www.chainsawchick.com and make sure to click on that little camera icon under the 8-foot praying woman that I'm standing next to. And it just takes you to just, you know, albums of my work, that little camera icon right there below that picture. And it just albums of work, some of them start to finish, kind of shows you in a way how to do it. And I can create anything you want. So right now I'm doing a cigar store Indian that this poor guy's waited 1.5 years for. So,
but again, it'll be well worth the wait because it is forever. And, so obviously, if people are interested in that, go check that out. I was on there yesterday. There's amazing stuff on there. But of course, they should pick up the new album, Blvds of Splendor. I listened to it yesterday. Like I said, it's a great album. There's also, for people like me, who's a big vinyl freak, you can get it on 180-gram red translucent vinyl at experiencevinyl.com. That's our friends Matt Sorum and Seth Frank, who have that, and people can go pick it up there. Are you a vinyl collector at all?
I have so many vinyls from my teenage years. They're all in my garage. I don't know if they're any good anymore because I should know better. You know, what comes around goes around. I should have known that kids were going to want to, you know, listen to vinyl. It is the best. And my son and my wonderful ex-husband, Robert Hayes, bought me a player because I didn't have one. So now I have a vinyl player. And I'm really excited because I get to play my old records once I dig them out of the garage.
Cherie, dig them out, honestly, because people think, you know, when CDs came, they go, oh, these are indestructible, and vinyls, it's too, you know, it's too sensitive. You know, I had my vinyl in storage for many years, and then I moved with it probably 10 different times to different apartments. And when I finally bought my house and I took my vinyl out, honestly, none of it was warped, none of it was scratched or damaged. It still played great. So it's vinyl's definitely a little more resilient than one thinks. And of course, with the new 180 gram vinyl, I mean, you can fling that against the wall and it won't break. So as a vinyl lover, I suggest people pick up your album on the vinyl.
Well, I actually listened to it. That was the first thing I did with my new player. And I was very impressed. There is a slightly different mix from the vinyl to the download, just so that people are aware of that. But I have saved my albums from the time I was 13 and up, and I can't wait to dig through them because, of course, it brings you back to those kinder, more, softer years. So I look forward to that. And thank you to let me know that I'm more afraid that they're not going to be okay, but knowing that yours are fine, I'm going to actually go and dig them out.
Cool. Yeah. And when you go back in the history of music, and I see that the Runaways are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it made me very angry to think that. What's the answer for that, except for that they've been wildly inconsistent when it comes to Rock Band, which is ironic for something called the Rock Hall.
Well, you know what? What upsets me or pisses me off more than anything is that Suzi Quatro isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And until she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I can't take them seriously, because without Suzi Quatro, there would definitely not have been the Runaways. There would not have been a Joan Jett. And I think that she absolutely kicked in the door for us gals, and she deserves it. So until she's in, I could give a damn.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of those clubs. Yeah. Okay. If you let me in, I'll be happy. But yeah, I guess, at the end of the day, it doesn't make or break, your life. But, you talk about Suzi Quatro, who had so many huge hits. Obviously Joan's gotten in, and but for the influence alone that the Runaways had, it aggravates me. It's a never-ending process to try to maybe get some new blood in there. I know Eddie Trunk has been a voting member for the last 5 years, and I think hard rock has been represented a little bit better in there. But one of these days, it will be a crime if the Runaways don't get in, and I mean that sincerely. And I thank you for your time today, and congrats on the new record.
Don, thank you so much. It really is important to me, and I'm so grateful that you took the time. You're very important. If it wasn't for you and people like you, no one would know about this record. And so you say thank you to me, but I really mean thank you to you, Don.
Well, that means a lot, and stay safe during these crazy times, and hopefully see you on the other end. And I've never seen you live before, so I'd love to see you perform sometime, hopefully in the near future.
Yes, and this will be the record, because this record kicks ass, and that's my roots. So I look forward to touring. I really do. And thank you, Don, for your time.
Yeah, have a great week, Cherie.
You too, honey. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Awesome.